So I've worked on the knee now, and I've done something a little bit different. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create two morph targets for the same joint. Often what you'll find is that you can bend an elbow or a knee to its extreme position, fix it with the target, but because it's a linear target from now its original resting position all the way into the fully bent position, there's an intermediary stage where it doesn't look right. The morph target's at 50% at this point, and it's really not doing what it's needed. So what I find is often you actually need two morph targets for a joint that's going to have a lot of bend to it, and step through a process of doing about the 50% stage, correct it, add that, and then correct it again for the fully bent stage. So this is what I've done. I've also named my edit mesh modifiers here by right-clicking on them, saying rename, so that we know which ones were which. I'm going to leave them all in the stack for the most part until I finish the character completely. I'm going to keep a version of them with all the targets built right in case I ever need to go back and adjust something or tweak something. I've got the edit meshes stacked up. I can turn them on and off as I need. So essentially what I've got is I've got the first one that does a bit of a change to it, and this was set up for frame 10. So this is doing a nice fix just to get the area not pushing into, starting to push the muscles down out of the way right away. It's doing a bit of stretch on top of the leg. You can actually see where the vertices were and where they currently are now when you have show end result on. So I'm just going to go ahead now, and at 10 I'm going to say add from stack and then turn off the edit mesh. And something to point out is you can see these yellow lines. These are vectors showing where the vertice is morphing to and where original positioning was. So as you step through, you can see where the vertice was originally and where it's now been moved to. This is a great visual guide so you know, again, partially which vertices you've moved and in which direction. You can see them even in a thigh here. I've decided to stretch the thigh down a bit further so that it moves with it. Now when I go all the way on to frame 20, I still have a lot of crashing happening and whatnot. I need to fix it again. So I'm going to turn on knee 2, which fixes the shape a bit more. It's pushing up the underneath of the leg a little bit. It pulls down some of the calf muscles a bit more and corrects some more in here. I didn't spend too long on it. And once again, I'm just going to simply say add from stack, and it adds another one in. And again, I can turn it off, and you can see the new vectors that are being shown. So now you can actually see as the vectors blend from one end to the next, you can see the vectors changing their angle and pointing in a different direction as the next target takes over, points them. So now I've got a reasonably well-deforming calf area here. It's still crashing into itself a bit. I could spend a lot more time working on that and getting it correct. A nice way to be able to work on the opposite side of the character is you can simply snapshot your mesh in the positions you need. Mirror the whole character. If you've got the character in a symmetrical pose, mirror the whole mesh over and just use that as a guide when you set up the other side. You can't pick and say add from node, and you can't pick from a mirrored node, because the mirrored node unfortunately is in a position where it is completely inverted, and your character as it morphed into it would actually fold itself inside out in a sense. The left knee would become the right knee and vice versa, so it would look very odd. So you can just use it as a reference. Once again, you can see all the vectors of where things are being pushed and pulled to in the arm as well, and that's going to help us solve a lot of those little problems. You can see the difference between now the left knee and the right knee when it goes down. I'll try and show it from the back here. The left knee is already starting to crash at the back at about frame 8, whereas the right knee that we've done work on is already beginning to push itself out of the way. And certainly up around frame 15, this is,